Go. Hello, everyone. Today we're here on the after the virtual jug interview with the founder and the CTO of PipeSafe, Jonas Bonér. Hi, Jonas.
Hello.
So,
Thanks.
in his own words, Jonas is an entrepreneur, a hacker, a powder skier, a reader, an occasional writer, and a public speaker. I know that Jonas is also a Java champion, and once he was named the #1 developer in Sweden. So he's a massive open source contributor, and you can find him in Twitter by @jbonér. So how are you doing today, Jonas?
Yeah, pretty good, thanks. Thanks for having me over. It was fun giving a session at the virtual jug.
Yeah.
It was a bit exhausting though, and a bit weird talking to yourself in the.
Yeah, I can see how that could be a bit different. So myself, I haven't been on the virtual jug yet. So the next session I'll experience the full stress of doing that. But for now, let's dive into our regular session. So this would be 7 blitz questions, which you should answer. You don't have to elaborate on the answer. So basically, yes or no, or a short answer will suffice.
Okay.
So whatever your first thing comes to mind, just shoot it. So is computer science a real science?
I believe so. Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, there are different opinions, but like this is one of them. What do you like more, static or dynamic typing?
Static typing.
What is your favorite JVM language?
Scala.
Yeah, no doubt there. That was basically very obvious. What is your favorite open source project that you don't work on yourself? Let's put it that way.
That's a good question. I don't work on myself.
Or like less than you work on ACA, say.
Yeah, I.
Yeah, no worries.
There's so many to think of. I think whatever I pick, I mean, I'm letting someone else down. So, yeah, I can easily come up with a long list, but it's hard to pick one.
Yeah, you are very known in the open source community as a contributor, so maybe it is unfair to just put you on the spot and asking you to name one. So let's go with ACA on this one, just for statistics. ACA is great. So can you tell us about your working workstation? So do you use Mac or PC, and what IDE for say Java-like language?
Yeah, so I use Mac, and I switch between usually Sublime and IntelliJ. I've tried everything under the sun, I think, and the last month I've been tinkering with going back to Emacs through Space Max, which I sort of enjoy, but I haven't really gotten into that yet. So
Awesome. So the last really short question: what is the worst habit a programmer or developer can have?
The worst what?
The worst habit. What can they do? Like
the worst habit, I think, working probably like off the top of my head, working in isolation, not asking others for feedback and communicating. I believe, I mean, sort of not learning from others through all ways you can do that. I believe. But I'm sure there are other ones as well. But.
Oh, like we know how to be really terrible developers, and I heard recently the software industry is one thing where there's absolutely no bottom. Every time you think you saw the worst, you'd be surprised.
Yeah.
So not learning from your or other people's mistakes is indeed like not a very smart move. So let's dive into longer questions. You gave a brilliant session on resilience and how we should treat failure as part of our world model. And you showed us a model where there were 3 boundaries. So there was managemental boundary, there were the laziness boundary, and the accident boundary. And then the whole session you talked about this accident boundary and how we go back and forth near that until we drop out from that side. So what about those 2 that we didn't talk to? Do you think we have better models, or is it just not in the responsibility of developers? So that's why you avoided.
Yeah, that's a really good question, and I think this is where process can help. For example, Scrum, where the Scrum Master or the product manager like protect developers from, you know, the evil management, the pointy-haired boss coming in and say, yeah, I woke up this morning and I dreamt up feature X. Can you implement it today? You know, that's where we need sort of the Scrum Master, whatever you call it, right? To say, no, we're in this sprint, you know, and you need to add that to the requirements doc later, and things like this. You know, management is constantly trying. Now I'm in sort of part of management now, so I'm also, at least in the small startup that is type safe. So like trying to sort of you know, get in the programmer's way and tell them what to do, and that can be really bad a lot of times, and so I think that there needs to be a balance here. Of course, management and you know, sales and so know more about how the company is doing and what they're saying and their constraints and sort of needs to be taken into account, of course, but not at the expense of like cutting down, you know, quality and you know, like setting insane delivery dates and things like that. So I think there's really need to be a balance. And here I think communication happens and a common understanding of what we're really trying to do together, more than everyone just looking after their own, you know, sort of thing, you know, or responsibility areas. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. I think that answers that we do have other tools to balance those two risks, and they're not indeed maybe in the developer's responsibility. Yeah. So if we look further, and you mentioned that in the session at the beginning, so there is fault tolerance, then we get resilience, then we get anti-fragility. And this is, you mentioned that this is not something we currently have like as widely understood or employed in software. Yeah. So basically it is a capacity to, like, when things go crazy wrong, this capacity to adapt, self-organize, and become better from this failure. Failure.
Yeah, so, where failure makes you stronger, essentially, instead of just allowing you to heal back to your initial.
So do you think there are, like, at all any good examples in software industry, just to, like, even to illustrate the concept in terms that are, well, relevant to developers?
It's a very good question. I think there is definitely research done, and I have definitely seen some of it in certain systems. And I think in software it sort of ties back to feedback control and control theory, essentially. And I really believe that is slowly happening, but we're still very, in my opinion, we're still very far from building truly adaptive systems that sort of can introspect themselves and sort of learn from past experiences. I mean, control theory helps with that, and that's a very simplified model, you know, in order to feed data back. And I think we start to see that through, you know, this whole trend of fast data. You know, it's not just your user data that you like put out for an analysis, but actually you can put out your own, actually, you know, the metrics and your behavioral, how the system's actually doing. You can like get like sort of push that out into Spark cluster, get some knowledge back, and then pipe that back in. And I think we're starting to see that happening, but still on a very rudimentary level. So I think you can call it sort of adaptive to some extent, absolutely, but way far from anti-fragile. I think that's where I believe that hopefully we will eventually get there, but we're pretty far from it. But I'm very intrigued by it, and I think that looking how young we are as an industry, I think we will eventually get there, definitely. But we don't just have the knowledge and the tools to do it yet. I might be wrong. There might be stuff that I haven't learned about yet that actually is able to prove me wrong, and this actually works in software. But I haven't seen it yet, though. More than at the basic, really basic level.
Okay, fair enough. Then we should just basically maybe read the book and get the understanding from other
It's a very good book. They're definitely worth reading. I mean, it's sort of enlightening to how the world works in general. I mean, a lot of things you can apply thinking to computer systems, even though we don't have the means to actually implement it yet. So it's enlightening.
Okay. So another question that I have is that I recently read on Martin Fowler's, I think it was Martin Fowler's blog, that implementing something yourself takes the magic away from the frameworks and tools that we have. So because we get like really good understanding how things are done from the inside. So, but now imagine a junior developer or less experienced developer, and they want to get more experience in how to build systems and take the magic away from, say, the reactive platform or from typical web application. But then, like, implementing the whole package of things like Spring Framework is impossible, right? It's just so huge. So what do you think if we take the reactive platform? So what would be a small component that one can reasonably implement, like not on a napkin, but at home within a reasonable amount of time, just to feel and understand how it works? That would be the most beneficial to understanding the reactive platform. It's
a very good question. I think it should be. I think it should be something that has the component of asynchronous message passing, because I think that's sort of the canonical theme throughout. Whatever you like, streams or future composition or actors, or use like data pipelining or almost anything you use is essentially message passing. And the interesting thing by doing something around message passing, it also really tells you a lot how distributed systems work, and also how the processors work at multi-core works as well, because it's all essentially message passing in the end. So I would try to come up with and sort of build something very simple, perhaps like a pipelining, sort of like SADA or something, like where you have like 5 different stages and doing some computation, super simple, like word count or whatever. And then have asynchronous boundaries between and send messages between, and just test to run that. If you can try to run it on a single thread using interleaving. You can try to run it on multiple cores, and you see the speed up, and you see actually what's happening, and try to slow one down, and if there's a join phase, how that affects things. I think a lot could be understood by just doing something simple around this. And if you do that, I mean, you essentially have a simple actor framework, essentially, where each stage is sort of an actor. Or each stage can be sort of wrapped up as a future as well, right? So it all is like has the same underlying base. But I mean, I don't know, that might be too more easily said than done anyway, but I'll try to do something around the lines of that. That said, actually, my colleague Victor Klang, he actually implemented the actor model just in those 20 lines of Java code, and it was about the same lines of Scala code in a gist that he put out there just for the fun of it. So the whole idea can actually be abstracted away in some pretty simple terms, I believe, at least the basics.
Yeah, well, that's a great resource to mention. So hopefully the readers who are interested will go and check that out and try to understand that. So I think that's almost all. So the one question that I have left is more soft rather than serious. So we all know that TypeSafe as a company is undergoing a rename. Can you give us an exclusive hint if you decided on the new name yet, or what it could be?
Yeah, the thing is that I actually don't know more than you, because the way we've done it, that we have sort of a cross-team group that's sort of working on this, right? And I'm actually not part of that group, which I think is good. So I will be as surprised as everyone else. I can just tell you that Victor Klang's absolute favorite that he's been lobbying for since day one is Death Nacho. But honestly, I really hope that doesn't go through. but that's all I can tell you.
Okay, that's enough. So thank you for your incredible session. Thank you for very reasonable, intelligent answers to the interview. So everybody who's listening to us on the podcast or watching us on YouTube, Jonas Bonér here. Follow him on Twitter and find and chat with him on Twitter. He goes by @jbonér, or just go at jonasbonér.com. I think that's a up-to-date website where you can get all the information about the work, code, or talks of Jonas. Network, connect to him. This would be incredibly useful. Look into Akka, look into TypeSafe, Reactive Platform, and well, let's build better software. All and every one of us. So thanks again. It was really great. I enjoyed this a lot.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. And I really encourage everyone to reach out for questions if you have it, or or just want to discuss something. So, or want pointers to stuff I talked about or whatever. Feel free. Don't be shy.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Thank you.
People.